we're not recording.
Oh, we're recording now.
Oh, we're recording now.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome to Open Bar. I'm Mike Morales.
And I'm Lisa Peach.
Thanks for joining us tonight. This is a great night. This is a great night. We'll be talking with the guy who originated Mexican Moonshine. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This guy is the epitome of indie. All right, he's an indie rock star. The tequila was indie, which was an interesting story. Maybe we'll get him to tell us about it. But this is also an award winner. Not only is it a brand of promise, but it also has won at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition as well as others. Oh,
lots of hardware.
Yeah, it's got a lot of hardware. And now the thing is, when he joins us, Roger Clyne, by the way, this is Roger Clyne's Mexican Moonshine. When Roger Clyne joins us, you might want to just join him where he's at, because he's living the life. He's living the life.
You know, we all work on our sailboats in Mexico on Monday. It's Mexico Monday.
It's Mexico Monday. You know, this is the Jolly Roger.
That's what we all do.
Yeah,
he's just a regular guy.
He's just being a pirata. He's being a pirate.
Yeah.
And so we're looking forward to talking with him on Open Bar, and he'll be able to give us some really neat things that are going on with Mexican Moonshine, with his career.
And by the way, there are other expressions of Mexican Moonshine. This is just the añejo.
That's the only one I have left.
There's a blanco, a reposado.
I drank most of it.
An añejo. Yes, he drank most of it. He doesn't even let me touch it. And there's also an extra añejo.
Yeah, this is the extra añejo is a special edition that Roger will be telling us about.
We didn't get in on that one.
No, I probably not. You know, that was
that was, you know,
that was a big deal.
There was a buy-in.
That was a buy-in.
Hey, look, Roger's online.
Is Roger on?
He's online.
Is he on?
He should be joining us any minute.
I hope so.
Are you all a tingle?
I'm a
You're all
No,
a
I'm a Latino. No. I'm all Latino.
You're all a Twitter. You're all.
That's because I'm wearing my Batman T-shirt.
No, you're just excited because it's Roger.
Well, you know, Roger and I go way back.
So what, like a year and a half ago?
Yeah, like September, right? When we were we're writing about that now. If you've been joining us, Roger Clyne and Mexican Moonshine joined us on our Dia de los Muertos Tequila and Mezcal tour, and we spent a really fun afternoon with him and his wife, the elusive Alisa. Yes. And so we did some fun things. We're writing up our episode there at the Taco
He
Deal.
posed for a picture too.
He did.
And it wasn't with us.
No, he posted a
picture with the kids.
With the boys. That was interesting because the
kids are two of his biggest fans.
Yeah. And let's see, just want to make sure we're all on the same page here.
If you're out there tonight, please don't call Mike's phone. It's not a call-in. It's not a telephone call-in kind of show. His phone explodes when we go online. It's nuts. It's nuts. It's over there exploding all through the show. Yeah. So please don't call Mike.
Yeah, it's not for those of you who are baby boomers. It's not a call-in show. For those of you who are millennials, you get blab, right?
It's a tweet-in show.
It's a tweet-in show, right?
Tweet-in. All right. There's Roger.
Woohoo!
Is it working?
It's working. Hola, señor. ¿Qué tal? Woohoo!
Todo bien. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien.
Excelente.
How's Mexico treating you?
It's great. It's such a wonderful day here. I tried to set this thing up to where we could see afuera, outside, because it's a beautiful breezy day. But it's too bright. Maybe later on, once we get a little bit of our discussion done, I'll try to walk it out there. But I tried to walk it out before, and the Wi-Fi just kind of gets pixelated.
Yeah, it's especially here when we get windy. When it gets windy here, sometimes you'll hear the wind swooshing by your microphone. How you doing, big guy? What's happening?
I'm doing really, really well. I came down here last, Wednesday night to try to sequester myself for Thursday and Friday and do a little bit of writing, which I got a bit done, and then played Saturday night at Bandidos, which is our little palapa hut down here in Puerto. And then was gonna come home on Sunday so that I could make sure that this was all loaded up. And like I'm a Luddite when it comes to technology.
Me too. If it wasn't for Lisa, I'd be talking to you on the phone. You know, so.
She walked me through the whole thing. Like she and I spent probably 3.5 hours trying to download this and download that and do this link. And finally, I was like emailing her directly, and she got me through this thing. But so I stole a day and went sailing because it was just a pristine sailing day. And then, of course, as boats will do, my boat fell into many, many different pieces. So I stole another day down here regathering the parts that it's going to take to put the thing together. But it was fun. Like any day sailing is a great day.
Your boat fell apart?
It's a sailboat, and on the port side there's a window, right? There's a pretty big window. It lets in some sun, and it just fell out. So there's a giant hole just above the waterline on my boat. I got to figure out what to do. If anybody out there manufactures plexiglass or anything that goes on sailboats, like let me know.
You heard it here first, gentlemen. Roger Clyne needs boat help.
Yeah, need boat help. And the motor went dead, and then the shackle blew, and all sorts of fun stuff. So
hey, congratulations on the new motorhome, though.
Oh, the Airstream?
The new bus. Don't you have a new bus?
Oh, we do. We do have a new bus. We retired our 1981 our old Stallion. It was an American Eagle, which was really cool and really vintage, but was also built at a time when the speed limit was 55 miles an hour. And so we found ourselves, that we were always the slow guy on the road. And it just became sort of hazardous. Plus we were breaking down more often than not. So we retired that thing, put it out to pasture. And I sold it actually to a friend of mine, a fellow cantina owner who lives up in Pine Top, Arizona, a guy named Jay. And it's at the Lion's Den. We get to go visit it this weekend for the Cinco de Mayo shows.
Oh, good deal.
He helped us parlay that purchase into a new, more modern tour bus. So we have a Prevo HC, I don't know what it's called, but it goes from place to place without incident. So we get from, Kansas City to Boston in a couple of days instead of a week.
Well, you have to give the old bus props because it did inspire another song. I mean,
that it did.
Right?
California Breakdown definitely inspired by another breakdown on the causeway. I think it was Interstate 80 between Sacramento and San Francisco. Right as we ran out of exits, the thing just decided to shut down, and we still don't know what happened. But we got off safely, and with a few helping hands from our fans who came out via Facebook posts, we got all our equipment to the gig in San Francisco, and everything went off. And the bus got towed and then repaired in a day or two, and we didn't miss a gig. But that was its last tour of duty. That was it.
It was social media win.
Yeah, social media win. That you put on Facebook, and everybody, a lot of people don't understand or may not know that Roger has this following. It's like an underground, not even underground. It's all above ground.
It's above board, but yes, still underground.
Well, yeah, but I think personally, it rivals some of the other, famous rock guys who have their own tequila, right? But we're here to talk about this.
That other guy has a mixto. We don't talk about.
No, we don't want to talk about him. Oh,
what? Really? Sammy's is a mixto?
No.
Not
Sammy's.
Mr. Margaritaville.
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah, but he's also got a hotel.
He's terribly close to that product.
Yeah.
he's in the process of diversifying, and he's quite the entrepreneur. Nobody could argue that he's unsuccessul.
No, and he puts on probably one of the most, as I heard it, one of the most expensive shows ever.
I've been to a show or two. I was entertained. I had a great time. I've been a fan of his stuff since before I even know who he was. So whether I like to admit it or not, I got some Jimmy Buffett in the DNA.
Well, you guys all have that wandering spirit, and I would say Sammy does too. Sammy's I don't know if you know him or not, but from everything that we've had read or.
Don't all you rock stars who live in Mexico know each other?
I wish, but Sammy, I did get to in the early days of Mexican Moonshine. I do have a couple of Sammy stories because we got to tour with him some years ago, probably about 2003.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 2003, 2004, we started opening dates for him. And we were supposed to open the show It was three people on the bill. It was Sammy Hagar headlining. It was Leonard Skinner who had the middle slot, and we, a little band from Arizona, got the opening slot. And something happened with Leonard Skinner, and there was an illness in the band, and we played 2 or 3 shows. And I remember seeing Sammy Hagar side stage, kind of with his arms crossed, and he's very personable, very accessible person. I have only the greatest things to say about him. And I must say this, I did not like his music before I got on tour with him. It was I come from a sort of a punk rock lineage, and he was an easy target. It was easy to say, oh, he's Sammy Hagar Weekend and all that stuff, and sort of belittle his music. But once I was exposed to it in person, and his esprit de corps, everything within his crew, and how hard he works on stage and how welcome he is to opening band, I'm a believer. I'm a convert. I'm a fan of the man and music. Nonetheless, to make a long story longer, and how long do you want to keep these broadcasts? Like, I can get a little loquacious sometimes.
Your show for an hour, amigo. It's all about you. I'll just keep feeding you questions because you and I, hey, salud. That's right. If we're gonna do this, we're drinking the juice, ladies and gentlemen.
Good. And I have 2 of my 3 marks. I couldn't find the third one down here. Actually, Banditos didn't open up till 4, and I had to rush back to make sure we had the connection. However, all right, to finish that story, so I don't leave too many hanging in the early moments of this broadcast, he was standing there side stage watching us play, and I wasn't sure by his body language if that meant approval or disapproval. But at the end of our set, when I was walking off stage his way, he kind of put his hand up and went, "Mexican moonshine, huh?" And I felt a little threatened. I was like, "Oh, are we allowed to swear on this podcast?"
It's cable, man.
I thought it was shit. At least that. And he goes, "Wish I'd have thought of that." Anyway, he said, yeah, which was cool. And because we were just early, it was very, very early on in introducing Mexican moonshine to any market. Anyways, he said, Skinner is a little sick. They're going to be under the weather. And we're populating the rest of the tour with some sort of fill-in bands. I wonder if you guys would take the second slot, and could you play, say, 40 minutes instead of 20, And so it evolved from 20 minutes to 40, and finally we got an hour in the second slot before Skinner joined back up. And so he gave us that shot, and we got exposure to his fans and that whole culture, and it did a lot for our career. We were in a van at the time, and we got the bump up to where we could take out a small business loan, with a bus, probably due to the volume that brought us. And I'm really grateful. It was super cool.
Wow.
All indications are, I know Alex, our partner, Alex had a chance to speak to him. One of the first earliest audio podcasts with Sammy, and when Lisa came on board with the company with Tequila Aficionado, she took that.
I cracked open the vault.
Yeah, she cracked open the vault, like Geraldo Rivera, and found real treasure. And it was one of Alex's first real podcasts where he took so much time with Alex, and everybody says the same.
Super cool.
Yeah, he's a super cool guy, a gourmet cook, wine connoisseur. Who knew?
Everything he does with a seriousness and an intent to deliver quality that was really admirable. And I've toured with a lot of people, and typically you can see what the artist is going to be like before you ever meet them, because their crew is a reflection of that. We found that their crew was meeting us at the van before we would get there, calling into our tour manager, telling us how to get through the maze that is always a route to the larger venues. They would meet us at the van, help us carry in our amplifiers, get sound check set up, and always give us time for sound check. It was never like, we've been with a lot of artists who just, we just took too much time and there won't be a sound check, so we do what's called a throw and go. But not with Sammy. We were always granted those, that if sound check was 3:30, we would be there at 3:30. They would help us load in, and we would get the full check. Little things like that go a long way. And he invited us backstage. He does a gathering and a prayer before his set. He invited us into that. He always had Cabo Wabo and passed it around to whomever of his musicians and crew would want to partake. Some people didn't, because they didn't want to have any the lens at all, like Sullied. They wanted to play through a clear lens, and he was really good. No peer pressure, always very accommodating. And he has a meal at the end of every night where he sits down, his VIPs and guests and stuff. And we were invited to sit with him a few times. He's a class act.
Wow. Well, it's interesting because when you read about some of his clashing with when he was, Van Hagar, and you hear about the stuff that goes on between him and Eddie Van Halen, just from the story that you've given me here, he gets a lot of bad press because it sounds like he's sounding off and like sour grapes or that kind of thing. But it's really not. It's really his professionalism that, I guess he spent a lot of time with those guys, and it kind of bugged him because he kind of had to draw back on his own quality control because he couldn't control the quality, I guess.
Maybe so, and every band, I saw this pretty eloquently put in the Eagles documentary recently. Like Timothy B. Schmidt said of joining the Eagles, somebody said, well, that band's breaking up. And he said, well, it's my experience that every band is always breaking up. And that's true. Like stasis is very, very difficult for artists and rock bands, and put the two together, especially in a volatile industry. And you're going to have people who are at least discontent, if not actively critical. And so I understand how that goes. And look, they're a band that has so much international spotlight on them all the time. I'm not surprised that people focus on the negative shit they said.
Yeah. He like I say, for all indications were, and judging from his moves in the tequila aspect of his businesses, mm-hmm. he made some of the greatest moves I've ever seen for a brand. Moves. He knew when to pick it up. He started it out of fun, very close to your story, with Mexican Moonshine. And then when he took it as far as he possibly could, he gave it up, but he gave it up, it was a very lucrative move for him. And he picked a really great company. I got to say that Campari.
Campari.
He sold it to a company that could take it further than he did.
But it was just from that move that he didn't sell it to Diageo. He didn't sell it to, he sold it to an Italian company. And Campari has, from where I'm sitting and having watched their moves, they purchase brands and they leave them alone. They know when to not mess with things. They bought a distillery instead. They bought one of the better distilleries in Mexico, and I've been to that distillery twice. San Nicolas, beautiful distillery, where they make Espolón, and
that's a quality brand too.
Stuff. They moved his brand from that little from the small distillery to Espolón, and they're just leaving it alone. They improved the quality.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
But it was broke. It was broken, and the way it worked out, if I remember the timeline correctly, there was a problem with the distillery. It just couldn't handle the demand. Sammy was doing a great job with it. Impulsora Rombo, I think is the name of the original distillery, couldn't handle the demand, and the quality was suffering. He was getting a lot of backlash from people going, it's not the same as it used to be, and whatever. And
yeah, nobody likes to hear that. Whether you're talking about music, if it's something that comes from your heart, nobody likes to hear, oh, well, over time the quality is degraded, especially when you're working really, really hard to make sure that, one, you're improving yourself through your work, and two, people aren't receiving it well. That's a shitty position to be in.
Yeah, he did some moves at the front office. He actually got rid of people in Northern California, Central California, where the original office was, moved it back into Southern California, got things straightened out, and then the Campari deal happened for him.
But you know what? Let's stop talking about Sammy.
Let me give one more Sammy story, if I may.
Go.
Back in whatever it was, it was the last millennium, right? They should never give lead singers, you should never be able to look at yourself. This is like give a lead singer a mirror, and this is what I'm going to do the whole time. All right. We're just a certain cut. Anyways.
By the way, when this is replayed, everything is flipped around, so you'll be on that other side.
I won't make a difference.
Yeah, well,
no, it's all the same to me. I got two screens. I got you guys over here,
right?
And I got me over here. But about a 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch block.
Right, but when it replays on YouTube, it's flipped, so you'll be on the side that we're on, and that's okay. So hopefully we're on your good side.
Well, nobody's center stage, and that's what's kind of pissing me off. I should be like. All right. So Sammy Hagar, and then we'll move on to other topics. But we got to circulate with him, and at one point we were talking tequila, and he noticed how we were traveling and how we were working. He didn't take me aside, but we intersected at at backstage, and he said, "Look, I know you guys you're a rough and ready rock and roll band, and you can throw and go, and you can deliver, everything you got on a moment's notice. And I know you're working on Mexican Moonshine. Wish I'd have thought of that, by the way." He said, "This is going to be part of your legacy. If this brand does get legs, it's going to be something you have to live with as long as you do a song." So now he said this, not that I think that you would try anything like a mixto or a lower quality or a well, but make sure that when you go to bed at night, that your tequila means to you as much as it does a song. So don't put anything on an album, and don't put anything, out there that you're not willing to stand by for the remainder of your career. And that really had resonance with me, because we hadn't faced those tough decisions, like how much time, how much money it would take to bring the highest quality tequila that we can stand behind, that we consider our expression behind us. And so I'm glad I had that opinion, that experience to temper, or to at least guide my way during the time we were vetting distilleries and discussing what kind of marks we wanted to put out and when. And so it was really good advice anyway. So Sammy, thanks.
Excellent. Cool. Wow. That is, see, every time I hear a Sammy story, I'm impressed.
They're always good.
Yeah. They're
cool cat.
You're a bad story. But see, now when the funny thing was when you and I finally met, because I know we were trying to meet several times when I was living in New Mexico at the time. We finally got to meet you on the bus. Yeah,
it was in New Braunfels, right?
Yeah.
New Braunfels, Texas, one cold night, and I was nervous. I'm like, oh shit, Mike Morales is going to be at the
No, well, it wasn't until I actually sat there and drank with you and understood what your background was, because I knew nothing about where you came from. And the more of these interviews that we do, either here at our kitchen table or we do it online, and the more I realize that if you get to know the person behind the brand, you understand where their palate is, where their bars are, and it wasn't until I did that I said, "Oh, I get where he went with this tequila now," because it's him. It's an extension of you. Yeah. And just like when we had Germán González sitting here, it was an extension of him. When I've talked to Carlos Camarena, those tequilas are extensions of the person whose name is on the label.
When we were
good.
When we were on the bus with you, and you were talking about traveling with mariachis, and drinking tequila.
Ensenada, I got a lot of my tequila. Sort of like my tequila pedigree comes from places where there's no real pedigree. Like it just comes from experience. Like that was behind the barn drinking warm tequila out of a saddlebag that was elegant, or in Ensenada hanging out with mariachis, doing an ethnography with those guys and having them finally, after weeks and weeks, so giving them cigarettes and having that tequila bottle pass me by, they finally handed it to me. And like, that was my moment where I know I'm in and I can talk to these guys and we can discuss what their music means and where it comes from and the stories behind it and how it connects families and history, all that stuff. But I remember when I finally got that label-less bottle of what most people would think of is going to be scary stuff, like swill. It was magic. It was totally magic. And then I wanted to find that stuff in the United States. And it was before ultra premiums were so available, right? Because there's been a definite proliferation of that idea and those brands. They just weren't out there, and we were sort of strapped with, or at least from where I was, my perspective in my market, we were sort of strapped with a lot of mixtos and a lot of stuff that you have to cut with margaritas and a lot of stuff you have to do the salt and lime ritual, and that's going to make you flinch. And so you want self-defense as you're trying this tequila, right? I wanted that stuff that was just, whoa, that is pure magic. It's enchantment in a bottle, and that's what we went to find when we started our search for Mexican Moonshine. And
it's stories like that flavor your tequila. I mean,
literally,
they really do, literally and figuratively.
And I've watched you in action, and I've said this before. I probably have said it in a couple of the articles that I've written. about you, watching you give a tequila tasting. You don't have the Riedel glasses like we have. When you give them, it depends on the venue. The venue.
It's hard to travel with those things on the bus. Like those. It's hard to keep guitar amps alive, much less Riedel.
Yeah, they'll walk away with these. So that unless you have them branded, they'll really walk away with them. But to watch the care, that you, I know, huh?
I was yeah, my word.
To watch the care that you give, regardless of the vessel that's holding your liquid, but the way that you're instructing the people who are the VIPs who are doing the tasting with you, it's really fun to watch because you're so I get the feeling that if you had to teach music, you would be the same way,
See, yeah, I was.
If only I could read it.
Don't give it all away.
Just fine. I read it.
I was watching.
So I can taste this stuff just fine. I can't make it. I have to go to the experts.
Yeah, but you can pass that information along, and what I love about you is that you're always learning.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. My goodness.
Yeah. But when you do those tastings, it's really wonderful to watch because I watched your audience, those VIPs that were having that tasting with you. I was watching them. I was in the back watching them. And they were actually, they were listening. They were paying attention. And that's something we try to get people to do all the time.
Yeah.
But you have...
we caught them early in the night,
but
that attention span is you can divert a lot easier after a few cocktails and an hour and a half of 100 decibel rock and roll.
But you had them wrapped around your finger, and they were paying attention, and they were talking about the flavors that they were picking up. I mean,
Well, I'm very glad of that.
It was wonderful to see because it really was the kind of education that we want to be able to give to people.
Well, when I sit with you guys and we start talking tequila, I always find myself back in the freshman seat, where some people might think I'm a senior or graduating to higher education. I still find myself when I speak with you guys, especially because how advanced your palate is and how much experience you have in the tequila universe. I find myself just shutting up and shutting down and listening. And I really enjoy it. It's good. We met at Taco Guild not long ago. And you guys were on that road trip, right? You're on that road trip, and we met. You were coming through my town, invited you to Taco Guild. And we had some great tacos and appetizers. And then once we started talking tequila, I was just like, this is real. This is valuable to me to listen to you guys talk. And that's what I hope that the Tequila Aficionado audience will understand, is that you guys are wellspring of knowledge. And I love that you're willing to share it and without pretense. A lot of the people I meet, whether officially or unofficially, who are tequila Epicurean, right? They'll talk over my head, and I'm a lover, but I'm not an expert in this field. So I really appreciate you guys speaking a layman's language to layman. It's awesome. Because I want to make tequila as accessible as possible. I don't want to make it too arcane to where people go the way I feel about wine. I don't even want to try to go to a wine tasting because I don't speak that language. Though I have the same sense organs and sharing time and space with these people, I don't understand what they're talking about, and I don't like being talked over. So I just don't go. Anyway, so you're accessible in your T-shirt and your line up with, it's and our website. There's no big pretense, and I appreciate it.
Thank you for the kind words. We appreciate it.
Well, you're never short edition about yourself. So
the thing. It's almost like you have these superpowers. It's really like Spider-Man. When you go back to the first original Spider-Man, with great tequila comes great responsibility.
Right.
And, and we're always trying
You've
to.
You've done well.
Yeah, you've done well.
Well, thank you.
You've done well, Obi-Wan. And
cool.
But see, that's to me, the people that I've run across have been so giving with their information and their knowledge that I do the same thing. It doesn't matter, but when I'm back in Mexico or if I'm talking to somebody, another distiller or we have somebody here at the house, or even guys like in the mezcal industry who are just regular guys. You all I try to do is lead the witness and ask the right questions, because I want them to tell me their story, because
Brilliant.
then they're able to relate to other people who are, entrepreneurs or startups, or that like you, they're just trying to learn something. They're trying to grasp something that's been a mystery to them.
Right.
That's why I love our Women in Tequila series too, because a lot of people don't even know that mostly women are involved in the business.
That's true.
We tasted one last night. Alex and I did some recordings of more of our sipping off the cuff, and we tasted one last night that was a woman tequila, Maestra Tequilera, who was in charge of this particular line for this ultra premium brand, and they put it on the box.
Let's give some props. Who is it and what's the brand?
Well, it's Herradura. They were nice enough to send us a bottle. They don't need us, but their PR people are nice enough to send us their colección, the colección de la casa. It is Directo del Alambique, which is 110 proof Blanco. Whew. And it's I forget the young lady's name.
I can't wait to try it.
But it's 110 proof from
It sounds fun.
Tequila Fuerte, but
it sounds fun.
Because of the region, it tasted differently than what the other 110 or 100 proofs that I've had before. So Alex and I did we went back and forth on that. But it's just beautiful that more and more brands are putting information on their labels and giving props to people. I think they get that from the mezcal industry. We get a lot of bottles of mezcal now that have the Maestro Mezcalero's name on it. And, in your case, a lot of people don't know, Roger, that you've got, you were talking about you don't really have a pedigree in tequila, but that's not altogether true. You told a story that I love relating, that your grandfather was a Bacanora drinker.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I come from a ranching, this will maybe tie back in. I know we're going to wander a lot on these subjects, but you said that the more you learn about the people who offer the expressions of their tequila, the more you learn about the person, right? And the more you sort of understand the person and the tequila together and how they're the same expression, right? And I think that's awesome. It's like artists in music, and it's in this whole arena. So to talk back to that, my roots in tequila go way, way back. And I think I told you this story on the bus, and I definitely tell this story in tastings. I grew up son of a ranching family from Southeast Arizona. There's a little community called Sonoita, Arizona, which is about 40 miles southeast of Tucson, and it's considerably higher in elevation. It's grassland, and it's not really good for cattle ranching, but people cattle ranch there. And now it's sort of what's the word? It's changing, gentrifying. It's more real estate than ranches, and I have my mixed feelings about that, of course. However, I grew up exposed to, because we're about 16, 17 miles north of the Mexican border there, exposed to working with Mexican families all the time, especially summertime when it was time to move cattle around, summer and winter when it's time to move cattle around, depending on season, whether you're going to feed them or move them to pastures that need to be rested, or move them from pastures that need to be rested. Long story longer, my grandfather and my father were Bacanora fans, and we used to trade, just like labor and time for whatever we could. It would be like we can bring lumber from our side, or the cabinets that were taken out of the barn, and we would get help, and everything sort of meshed together, and the border wasn't a big ballyhoo. We could go through without having a flash ID, and it was a different time. And I was exposed to tequila when I was far too young to drink it, but it was just part of the ritual. So when we'd ride with the vaqueros, especially in the summertime, they always had Bacanora. And I remember just sort of being able to grab it from somebody's, who was, if we had time between pastures and a couple miles to ride, it would just be passing it around, and not to get loose, but just to kind of to have something to talk about, and they'd hand roll a cigarette.
It's a bonding thing.
It is. It's a ritual whereby it brings people together. Even if you don't speak the same language, you can experience the same taste on your tongue, and it was great. And I experienced Bacanora then, and I love Bacanora. It's very, very local. It's considerably smaller than tequila internationally. But it was sort of my first love from the spirits, the desert spirits land. It was later that I was exposed to tequila, also on a similar roundup ritual. I was hitching the horses with some vaqueros behind the barn in the shade, and I remember they pulled a labelless bottle out of their saddlebag and just, popped it and passed it around. And I got to hit it with them and went, wow. I was thinking, because I was not unexposed to hard liquor with my family, being a ranching family. My father and my grandfather used to have, whatever it was they had on the rocks, and they'd say, here, put hair on your chest. And I'd have to knock some back and try not to cough. I remember when they handed me that bottle, I thought, this is going to make me hurt. I don't know how old I was, but it was early teens, maybe middle teens. And I took a big slug, tried to be as big a slug as they did. And it was velvet. It was magic. And it was super smooth. And I remember asking, what is that? I said, it's tequila. And I think that was the first time I heard the word. And off we went. And it was like, that's the stuff I wanted to find. So.
Now, speaking of tequila, I have been wanting to get to this.
Okay.
And I love the Sammy stories, and I love the.
I'm going to go. This is my reposado al lado ritual. So I find my favorite Mexican beer at Sweatin', and my reposado al lado on the side. So I'm going to have kind of both of these.
Go for it, man. It's your game. Now, it's your house. Your world. We live in it.
Can you tell us about your extra añejo?
Yeah. What can you tell us about the extra? And let me preface this by saying that we knew this was happening when we were on our tour. You were very kind enough to put us into the inner circle, although we couldn't really publicize it for obvious reasons. But now that it's out, or it's coming out,
that crowdfunding campaign exploded.
Yeah, dude,
we were watching it every minute. It was
so
like
helpful.
It was fantastic.
It was so helpful. It really helped keep us on our feet. We're a very small brand, and you've met Elisa, my wife, who's the general manager, and we have a small board of directors of about 5 people who are all active in participation, and a few investors who are all active. So I think the total Mexican Moonshine staff worldwide is around 10 to 12 people, and our largest footprint is.
I could use 10 people.
Oh, I bet you could. Yeah, and we're lucky. These are all smart, passionate, very, very active people. But it's a small business in a very, very competitive field. As you know, it's like there are huge companies out there who spend hundreds of thousands, per every peso that we can help or that we can throw into marketing and distribution. So the question became, when I'm on the road outside of Arizona primarily, how can we get this stuff here? And it's very difficult to get it into distribution and then furthermore into retail. And if you're successful at that, it's really difficult to get it off the shelves. If you get on the shelves, it's same in the record business. Get on the shelves, you better get off the shelves, or else you're collecting dust in retail space is the most, it's premium, and you can't damage your reputation as an artist or a tequila or anybody who would purvey and sell goods by sitting still on a shelf, by granted being a guest there. So we found that it was a very complicated story, but we needed help. We were like, we need some help to get the story out there, that we have an excellent spirit that we would like to share with people, and that it's very, very meaningful for us. It just flatly came down to we needed more money, right, to tell the story, to cut through the noise, and to do so wisely, not frivolously. So somebody came up with the idea of the crowdfunding campaign, and I must admit I was reticent at first. I didn't like the idea of sort of holding my hat out, because I come from the old school American entrepreneur ideal that you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? Anyway, after extended conversations with people in our business, in Mexican Moonshine, and also people outside with fans, are like, there's no shame in offering something in exchange for some cash infusion, should you not use it frivolously, right? People want Mexican Moonshine in Delaware, or more available in Arizona, Southern California, Colorado, wherever they want it. Let's see if we can do it.
Yeah. I
was a little bit reticent to do so, but we opened up our crowdfunding campaign at Indiegogo, and people, and to get back to the original question, our primary give was an extra añejo, which will be Mexican Moonshine extra añejo in a collectible bottle, which will be, we'll have the ceramic painting of the Refreshment's first record, Fizzy Fuzzy Big and Fuzzy, the girl.
It's your 20th anniversary for that too, right?
It is. In February, it was the 20th year anniversary of my first major label album. So we coupled a tequila extra añejo with a 20th year anniversary, and we asked if people were interested. And we're going to do 440 bottles of, which is our small batch at La Fabrica, our distillery, but the distillery that makes Mexican moonshine. All right. So long story longer. That was really, really successful. And people bought, I think it's about 90% sold of the extra añejo, all that money going into a coffer, which I'll tell you what we did with. But the extra añejo is yet to be made. And so I'm taking advice and notes, knowing that the extra añejo will be something that I enjoy first and foremost. And I've been very, very lucky that people have been responsive to the taste and the feel of Mexican moonshine, silver, reposado, and añejo. The extra añejo is yet to be created, but I will be flying down to Tequila, Mexico, actually to Guadalajara, and then busing over to Tequila on, I think it's the 16th of this month. So in about 2 weeks to begin the actual development of the extra añejo with Arturo Fuentes and Federico Cabo at La Fábrica de los Tequilas Finos, which is our distillery.
Wow.
I've got my fingers crossed. So they're going to help me through what they consider the finer points of world-class extra añejo. And I'm going to follow them the same way we made our reposado, añejo, and silver. And that will be our issue. And that's what we're going to make to send out to the Indiegogo contributors. And that will be it. There was those 440 bottles. And I think that's all we're going to make. After that, the extra añejo recipe will stand if, in fact, it is critically received or publicly received. The people who have purchased it go, yeah, that's good. If it's a flop, we'll probably go back to the drawing board. But I feel like I'm in very, very good hands with the people who are helping me to create and bottle that stuff. So that's the long story.
Fábrica de Tequilas Finos has they're not only known are they known for their bottles, obviously, but they've had some great tequilas throughout the years that they've been producing. I've been to that distillery as well. I think you and I discussed that.
Yeah, it's not very large. Like when you think of, it's funny when you think of places that create something that is distributed worldwide, you think of it's going to be big, right? It's not. It's like you walk in and
I got lost. Really big. I got lost in their warehouse. I'll be honest. I got lost in their warehouse when I went and did their trip, and I was so shocked because they were so known for bottles of Tonalá, for instance.
Yeah, Tonalá.
Doña Carlota. You know, and there's beautiful ceramic bottles.
Pancho Pistolas.
Pistolas, right. And then I get lost in their warehouse and all these boxes of stuff from China. There's these bottles from China, and I'm going, oh my God, they've got bottles. Yeah. But you know that
it's okay.
I know okay. It was before before I got.
He felt so betrayed.
I did. I feel so betrayed.
Oh really?
Yeah, because I'm going. This is a Fábrica that's known for their bottles as well as their tequila, and yet. Right. There are other lines. Now I know what the business is all about. And I know there are other lines that they make cheaper bottles because the lines are different. And
well, and to my knowledge, that's not a decision that La Fábrica makes. They give latitude to their clients. So they'll take on a client who's going to make a tequila, right? And whether some of them just ship to Japan and some of them just ship to China. And they economize in their packaging and in their boxes and their corks and their bottles. But La Fábrica never skimps on their agave. They never skimp on their process. So everything that La Fábrica is responsible for, they make 100% great. It's their client who may be making or ordering the bottle from an outsource that you may be shocked to find that there's a bottle made somewhere else in Mexico. But it's not La Fábrica. The juice that goes into the bottles, I can stand behind this 100%. And just for the record, in case there are any questions in our listeners' minds, everything that we do for Mexican moonshine is Mexican made. Everything from, of course, the juice to the glass to the corks to the labels. It's all done. It's all hecho en Mexico.
That's great.
That's the way we want to keep it. And I was actually, to use the same word, I was a little bit reticent. I was reluctant or wasn't convinced that Mexican moonshine should be aged in bourbon barrels because it was sort of, in my opinion, at the time, like to speak to the naivety that you might have been experiencing when you saw bottles that were from another country.
Yeah.
Other than Mexico. I was shocked to think that wait a minute, you want to age tequila in an American oak barrel? That seemed antithetical to tequila ness to me, and I didn't want to do it. And Arturo convinced me. He said, well, luckily you've got time, so let me do this. Let me do what I think where we should age these bottles or age this stuff in bourbon barrels, and let me do it for the time and the temperature and the humidity where I want to do it. But it will be in an American barrel, and then we'll do it your way in a Mexican barrel, right? And then when you come back to proof this, you tell me what you think. And it was hands down. I thought it was an amazing hybrid to have the Mexican treasure that is tequila rested in an American bourbon barrel, and it was enchanting. And
it really is. It's an art.
I thought it would be a trendy thing. I thought this is going to be trendy, Arturo. There's no way this is going to work. What do I know? So he was right, and sure enough, Mexican moonshine is aged in bourbon barrels.
They don't make a bad tequila in a bunch. Yeah. Not so you picked a great distillery. All the brands that are coming out of there are real winners. As a matter of fact, we have another one that's coming up on our Sipping Off the Cuff series, that a brand new one called Tres Ochos, 888.
Ochos, yeah, cool.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it because technically I have them before Alex does. Alex, he's on camera and he's taking off the cellophane, so it's Sipping Off the Cuff for him. And people, we tell people we don't influence each other's points of view. So I never tell him that what I think of the brand, but I got to tell you, these guys don't make a mistake. So you couldn't be in better hands.
I agree.
Your fans' palates couldn't be in better hands, so to speak.
Thank you.
And I'm sure so far, you've done really well. You've gotten a lot of hardware for this brand, for being a startup. You've gotten a lot of medals, a lot of recognition, and
thank you.
Really, I think that the Extra Añejo, I'm looking forward to it because I really want to see. People don't know this, but during our tour, when Roger and us, we were in a Taco Guild, he was tasting Extra Añejos on purpose. He was
and I wanted your notes. You were giving me a lot of great notes about them.
And you were making up your own mind how you wanted yours to taste, because you again wanted to be an extension of you. And
ultimately, I don't want to write and release a song that is meaningless for me or for just strictly commercial effect or approval, right? I'm certainly not going to make that mistake with tequila, and it harkens back to Sammy Hagar's advice. Make sure that you can live with this, and I want to live, not only live with it. I want to be proud, very, very proud of it, and I want when people taste it to go, yeah, I get it. That's great. That's my selfish little goal right there.
No, but it's what happened to me. You've accomplished. So far, you haven't made a wrong move at all, and
knock wood.
Your fans should know that as well. That those of you who contributed to the crowdfund, as soon as you taste it, you're going to go, "Oh, this is Roger. This is Roger. This is Roger sitting back at home, in Mexico." And it's going to be a wonderful experience for your viewers, your fans, your listeners, your followers. You have a huge army.
Now, let's hold on.
We have at least a platoon. I don't know if this band has we have a very, very
small country.
Fervent platoon. It's like I said before, when you walk into a place, right, that or most places, in fame, with fame, people often just look bigger than they actually are. And I find this is true with artists, musicians, that it looks like you rule the world when in fact, you're just getting back into a crappy bus and dead heading to the next town. There are exceptions, of course, to that rule. Oh, darn it! I had one too many, and I can't remember where I was going to.
That's okay. You know what? Just keep talking.
Walking into La Fabrica, it was astonishing to see how small the place was. And at first, I was a little taken aback. But then I thought, at least this place is it's not trying to be something it's not. It's focused on quality and consistency. And definitely they prove that by not expanding beyond what they can do and do it great. And you'll attest to this. Their warehouse where they hold boxes and glass and pallets is 5 times as big as their actual distilling facility. It's their distillery is a portion of what their warehouse is. Their warehouse is yet to be filled up. They're still working towards volume, and they're doing a great job. They're leading with quality.
What I love, they have a tasting room / office that's inside the barrel room.
Yes, and that's where now
the barrel room, and you can just smell. I didn't on my first trip to a distillery. That was our first, my first experience in tequila in Mexico, and when the first time I smelled the wood, and
the angel's share, right?
Well, yeah, but the only thing that came out of my mouth was añejo. It was dumb. It was really stupid. It was the dumbest thing I could have said. But cool. That was the smell of the wood and the aging. That's what I meant. I smell the aging, and you're right. I smell the share, and it's beautiful to have an office that overlooks a tasting room that overlooks the barrel room, because that's where the magic. That's where there's 2 places where the magic happens. One is the fermentation tanks, in my opinion, and then the other is the barrel room. Yeah. And I've seen several barrel rooms. I saw one that was so small and made out of bricks in the middle of the heat, and when the doors open, you get hit by the heat and the humidity. These huge wooden doors. And I'm thinking, boy, you're losing a lot of tequila in that barrel room. But they
know what they're doing, though. And by and large, that's you've seen the office at La Fabrica, and up there, you've probably been up the stairs to the boardroom, right, where it can sit probably a dozen people, and that's where they have that window open to look out on the barrel room, and that's where the angel share sort of. Yeah, it's so beautiful. Now, Federico Cabo has his own personal barrel of Super Añejo up there, or Extra Añejo up there. And I want that, and I've been privileged to sample that. And I'm going to ask for the DNA of that stuff. Like I want, that's what I want. That's what and I'm going to do everything I can to bring that, to us. That's what I want our Extra Añejo to be, because it's divine. The stuff that is his personal barrel is, I've never had anything quite so good.
So tell us, how does it feel now? It's been 20 some odd years since the refreshments, and this is your anniversary. What's it like to go on the road and to be on the road? And because I want to touch on a couple of things, because I know that
we can use music too.
The Extra Añejo is commemorating that event. So what's it been like now to go out and do the entire album, live?
It's been weird, and in a really good way. How do I put this? As much as I thought I knew those songs, right? There's a part of me as an artist that they become placed in sort of random access memory, where I can just recall them and not necessarily feel them as like I do my newer catalog. So it was New Year's Eve of last year, and we were playing a relatively large theater in Tempe, a medium-sized theater in Tempe called the Marquee, and it's a great facility. Anybody who's watching, check out the Marquee Theater. It's a great place to see a show. New Year's Eve was a very, very competitive evening, and naturally the proprietors wanted to fill the hall, and ticket sales were a touch off. They were a touch slow, as a lot of places are on New Year's Eve. So somebody asked, how can we do this? How can we boost these sales a little bit? Somebody else said, play Fizzy Fuzzy Big and Fuzzy, top to bottom, for its anniversary. And I said, well, it's not quite there yet. It's going to be another couple months. Somebody in the banter said, well, why don't you do it? Why don't you just open up solo acoustic for the show? And I'll give that a shot, and committed to it without really thinking about it. And as I committed to it, I realized, man, I got to go back and I got to learn all those songs for in tempo, not the way the band plays them now, because it's been 20 years and there's a lot of changes that happen on the fly, a lot of evolution that happens. And I got to learn them as they are in tempo, and even try to get the sequencing between the songs down. And so I revisited Fizzy Fuzzy, and I'm as narcissistic as I purport, not to be.
Dude, I could do that with. See what happens when you do enough of that?
Yeah, right. So I don't go back to my own records and listen to them. It's just I just don't do that. So, but I had to learn Fizzy Fuzzy the way I wanted to learn it and perform it. And as I went back, I found, you probably have these records where you go back and you hear the sound of that record and you're instantly back in time in a really visceral way.
Yes. And
I listened to that record through headphones with a guitar in my lap and went, whoa, I'm 26 again making this record. Yep. And it was really exciting, but it also made me very nervous. And I learned it, and I took away the parts that we had added, and I added the parts that we had taken away. And so I got it down to Fizzy Fuzzy Big and Buzzy in a very pure form, and I played it that night, and it was joy. It was really, really cool. And then I was very excited because I felt that good about it. And I don't know why. Maybe it's, I don't know. It just felt like we did something right. Like your first offering was actually okay. Like you didn't make a big mistake with your first offering, because a lot of people can do that. I got really excited about bringing it to the people nationwide, and we've been playing it to stages really big and really small now since February. We started at the Yucca Tap Room, where the Refreshments got their start. And we did a residency, and we played every weekend night in February, including Sundays, and sold it all out, which is not a giant commercial feat, because it's not a very big place. But man, every single night. Go ahead.
Is it in Tucson or Tempe?
It's in Tempe. It's a small place. Yeah, the Yucca Tap Room, small place, and it's been there. It was probably before I was born, and I'm certain it'll be there before or after I die. It's going to be like Cher, cockroaches, coyotes, and the Yucca Tap Room are the things that will survive the apocalypse. And Moonshine. Hopefully, actually, I hope everybody drinks it all gone before that last.
That's it, man.
Now we've got there's something else I wanted to talk about, and your journey, your whole rock and roll tequila journey has taken you to Chase Field, hasn't it?
It has. Good segue, Lisa. We were talking about earlier.
The reason she brought it up is because I'm a Dodger fan, so I hate the Snakes.
Let's talk about.
I hate that.
You're going down, Morales.
Yeah, all right.
Sit in my seats while your guys hit the bottom of the ocean.
We let you take Greinke, but that's it.
But
you're done.
What are the Dodgers?
Greinke is a late bloomer for us. He's a late bloomer, but I'm sure that things are going to sync up. Baseball teams are as organic, if not more organic, than rock bands, right? So it's going to just take a touch. It's going to take a little while. Greinke's going to get there.
People are getting really.
You're going to miss him. You're going to miss him. LA.
You know what?
Anyways,
after last night, we have a picture of Fernando Valenzuela strikes out 14 and drives in the winning run.
Oh man. I was fixing a broken boat when that was going on.
Oh man.
Okay.
So
Chase
tell
Field.
us how that all came about. First of all, let me just say, and it was thank you again. I want to thank you personally, because you were taking me into consideration, taking us TA into consideration by letting us know that you were up for becoming the official tequila of the Arizona Diamondbacks of Chase Field.
Well, I asked you a lot of questions online when that was starting to happen, or you and I were in a conversation about
yeah, because that's
WTF, Mike. What's up?
It's an iffy thing, and
we were saying little prayers every night.
We lit a candle for you.
Well, thank you, and that was, I guess, the nature of the question. I don't know if our audience is in sync with this. Another long story from Roger Clyne. Here we go.
Well, no, but what I'm really happy about is that the Arizona Diamondbacks, instead of going, because some of these teams will go with a national brand because they got a lot of money.
They had every opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I bet they did. And they went with you, a homespun guy who has actually done their theme song.
Yes.
For the D-back swing, right?
Exactly, but it shouldn't necessarily. It doesn't hold currency in the same arena with your concessionaires and with
Right.
this is running a major league baseball team. I'm sure there's a huge nut to cover, right? And you got to make the ounces count everywhere so the pounds will pay off, right? Anyway, the D-backs did actually, I don't know if I should say this as a fact, but I believe the D-backs interceded in some way to grant a little local brand access to Chase Field so that we could have a presence there. Thank you, D-backs.
Great job. Thank you, guys.
And we're super proud.
That's a big step. It's a big step.
I think so too, and we're super proud. I couldn't believe it. I had to pinch myself when I understood we actually got that bid.
When I still have the text message you sent me.
Good. Well, I was asking you, we have an opportunity here. Do you think this is a good idea or a bad idea? And you gave me very good advice. And without being terribly explicit, you said, don't lose your shirt, but if you can make this happen, it's a huge opportunity. And that's the way I felt. It was a very, I was glad to get some input, some collaboration from somebody who knows you've got experience in these areas.
And the way it sounds like you were really calm about it. But he was actually around in the house and saying, "Oh my God, you're not going to believe it."
It was a very dispassionate response.
I have a Nerf football that I spiked.
He was so excited.
Cool. So yes, Mexican Moonshine is a tequila, not necessarily the only tequila, but we're a proud partner with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and.
But the fans are really excited about it. It's all over social media. People are talking about Mexican Moonshine being available there, and they're loving their margaritas, and they're tweeting about.
Who was it that took now you have some lyrics of D-back swing that have been painted on one of the walls of the margarita bar.
Yeah. No, they're somewhere. I went looking for them. I went opening day and I went looking for them.
You took a picture of it.
But then again, I also walked in and had 3 margaritas within the first 100 yards. So
there you go.
Supporting my brand, and I couldn't find these lyrics, but I know they're there. Anyway, back to just to sort of connect a few points. We were talking about the Indiegogo campaign, about how we wanted to spend any money that we might garner through our community support very, very wisely, and to create more accessibility, more integrity, more availability. Accessibility and availability being basically redundant. We got the opportunity to pitch, pun intended, to Chase Field, and we looked at the coffers and went, it'll pretty much take all of it, but I can't think of a stronger place to stand. And so we did that, and Mexican Moonshine took its Indiegogo funds. Thank you. And pitched it at getting into Chase Field with the Diamondbacks for 2 full seasons. And
right on!
Yes, we got that, and I'm
1 season.
Right, we got 2, and so we're gonna make the very most of it so that it can make inroads everywhere, because it's a national thing.
Right.
If we can get attention and integrity and cachet from that presence, from that association, and there's no greater integrity than American baseball, right? Like that's it. And to put tequila in with American baseball, which has a huge Hispanic base, we found this synthesis, this cooperation, this unique chemistry that hopefully people will see on the television and at the ballpark. And then when we call Delaware, they'll go, "Oh yeah, we've heard of you. We'll take a few cases and we can get it there." And so I'm hopeful it'll open doors. And that's the way we've decided to make wise use of those funds. So thank you, everybody.
What a great move. Congratulations.
Well,
I had no clue because,
we shall see.
Well, there's a lot of interleague play going on. Now it's almost commonplace. It used to be just sporadic, but now it's commonplace. So the day the Orioles come into town, Baltimore, Maryland, Delaware, all that tri-state area.
There are going to be way too many Dodgers fans in the stands when they come and
but you know what?
And
LA is a hotbed. Southern California is a hotbed for tequila, just like Arizona. Yeah. And it
won't be people's first exposure, And if they drink the tequila, they'll be like, "Damn,
where do I get it?"
Right. You can get it you can get it neat, which is the way I like it. Up at there's a couple of bars up in right field that you can get it neat and have your reposado or your añejo alado. And so if you want to taste it, just sort of if you're checking this out and you're going to make a D-bag scheme from somewhere else, like you can find it up there. It's in the stadium. And
that's awesome. It's
not ridiculously priced. Typically things in a ballpark will, it'll be like you're paying for stuff at a rock concert, but somebody has done a really good job of helping us not have the price be overinflated. We didn't have any control of that, but somebody helped, and go D-backs.
Hey, congratulations.
Thanks. It feels really good.
It couldn't happen to a better brand.
Thanks, buddy.
This is an Arizona Sun that has made, you have in your last album, the Independent, you talk about taking, and even when you and I talk
road trip music, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you talk about taking the road less traveled, and your road less traveled has led you with so many opportunities that I can't stress enough how important it is that the D-backs did what they did and decided to go with you guys, because they, unbeknownst to them, they have done what other teams have bypassed. They have taken the native son and helped him along in a way that other teams have neglected, maybe, or have overlooked their homegrown
it's really
resources.
Smart to embrace that. Yeah.
The D-backs are so involved in community. They're involved in all aspects of helping all people rise, and that's really part of their core concept. And they walk their talk by really whatever they did to help us get into the stadium. I'm certain that they could probably have a more lucrative experience with a different brand, but in the short term, I mean, we're a community building band the same way they're a community building team, and we're very, very proud that we're a part of their movement.
Congratulations.
It was
Thank you. It was really cool. Thanks, D-backs.
I'm so happy that it was a much a better experience for you, being an indie. Because if anybody understands what indie is about, it's you.
Thanks.
Being an independent, an indie rock star, starting as indie, the guy, dude, you're like the indie Prince.
I'm probably too old to be a prince anymore, dude.
God bless.
And yet I'm not yet a king. So I'm a happy peasant.
You're a pirata, hombre. That's how it works.
Excelente. I'll take that all day.
We take a pirate.
Gotta get my vote fixed.
And I love it that I know you're a big soccer fan, but I didn't know you were a baseball fan as well. Because now you and I have something to argue over.
Yeah, we'll banter. We will banter. That'll be fun. Cool.
Oh my gosh!
I'll blow you up. I'll blow you up on that whatever on
Facebook.
What's up on the text? Yeah, I'll be giving you some shit.
Hey, I welcome the shit.
Dalton and Jim Dalton, our guitarist, is a Colorado Rockies fan, and
my gosh.
It's a lot of mudslinging out there.
You guys are playing each other right now. What's the difference? You have thin air.
Like as we speak.
Yeah. Why? I was going to say, what's the difference? Because Arizona's known for their dry air, so balls fly out of that ballpark. And then Colorado's. I lived a mile high, so I know what that is. And there's no atmosphere either way. Balls are going to do that either way.
The important thing is that they're serving good tequila.
That is the most important thing. Here's what's interesting. I had a gentleman, I won't name him, but he
eventually you will.
No,
depends on how long this interview goes.
Let's put it this way. Well, let's put it this way. He runs a very well-known taco and tequila bar in Las Vegas. And you
don't want to name names?
I don't even.
He does.
I don't even remember his name. Okay, I
named,
dude, I just named him Tacos and Tequila at the Luxor.
Okay.
Okay. Well, what he told me was that, Las Vegas is very transitory. And so they will have brands that are because they get people from all over the US and so they carry brands that they will be able to get back home. Whereas the Diamondbacks, they have a brand that maybe, just maybe, is not available to them, if somebody comes in from out of state, even though Arizona is a big tourist attraction.
But it's a smart move because then people will want to come back to Arizona and get that tequila.
That's right. How do I get this tequila in Delaware? Because, I follow the old. So. Or I came here to follow
it would be a fantastic effect. And that's, like I said, that's why we made the decision. We're going to just kind of, Indiegogo did this, and now the opportunity is here. So that's what we're doing.
You're talking over the guest.
I'm sorry.
But you're not. He hasn't even had any Mexican moonshine. You're not even sipping. Lisa's the only one. There you go.
I'm enjoying mine in your needle. I'm just giving it I'm just elevating it a little bit and enjoying the bourbon notes in my añejo.
Cool, thanks. Great. That's Arturo Fuentes. That's Arturo Fuentes at La Fabrica who created that magic effect with the bourbon notes in.
Yeah. Again, congratulations on all that. I'm so glad that it's been a wonderful experience for you.
Thanks, Lisa.
And that it dovetails very, very nicely with your music. Because you really, it is an extension of you. The music.
It is. I love tequila. And way, way early on, the refreshments crowd adopted tequila as their spirit of choice in the venues we were playing, and the bars were selling more tequila there in a night than for months when we're there, and for months when we're not. And it became really obvious. We were drinking plenty of tequila, and I started wanting to find the good stuff, and it was difficult. It was very difficult, but little by little, and guide by guide, person by person, we found how to bring the spirit that we love to our audience, and hopefully, our audience present and hopefully future. So this is our spirit, Mexican Moonshine.
Excellent.
And your heart and your cup overflow. So
do you have any further plans of expanding the brand to things that you may not know about, like a Bacanora or a mezcal maybe, or is that not even on the radar?
I have thought about it because I do love mezcals and I love Bacanoras, but I think from a business point of view, you have to focus on what you're doing and not diversify before you're successful. I think that would be a mistake. As in rock and roll, we write music that's supposed to connect with people. And as in tequila, we're creating a spirit that's going to bring people together. So I plan on just sticking with tequila. And I already consider it a success story, even as difficult as it is, and as much help we've had from our community, our Tequila Familia with Indiegogo and the Peacemakers fans. I think we should just focus on getting the tequila out there, because to move on to other things would be a dilution of the process, and kind of for the wrong reasons. I don't want to expand or I don't want to create an empire that we can't tend to, I want just a cool little community where we can focus on quality before quantity.
Excellent. So is maybe a lot of people who are watching us now, maybe for the first time, or our readers are not aware how hands-on you really, really are on your brand, whether it's your music, your tequila, or anything that you happen to come across, that comes on your road less traveled. So I couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
That's cool. Thanks. We're a mom and pop thing, but in music and in tequila and everything we do, from tickets and T-shirts to all the above. So this is what we do, and we take it all. We try to. We don't take it seriously, but we're earnest in our endeavor. We want to make sure that we bring some levity to life in what we do in community and celebration. And tequila and rock and roll are a pretty cool marriage, and so I'm in a lucky spot. So thanks for this attention.
Tell us about what's coming up for Roger Clyne, for the Peacemakers. I know you've got a real special event coming up. It's your yearly event next month.
Oh yes, Circus Mexicus is what I think you're talking about, right?
Yep. No, I'm talking about something else.
Circus Texicus too.
Well, that might happen. Is that happening? I don't even know.
I don't know. Only if you're here.
Make that up.
It ain't happening if you're not here.
I saw an announcement. It's happening in July.
Really?
You're
cool. So we'll be
all
right.
Circus
So
Texicus?
Well, it'll be the very first. It'll be. I think we're playing at Billy's. Oh man, I wish I knew the name of the place. Billy's
Ice House.
The River Road Ice House in New Braunfels, July something, like 3rd, 4th.
July.
You don't know, and I don't know. But if it's on the website, it's on the website, and we'll be there.
That's my birthday.
Somebody scheduled you. You're going to be here.
Rich. Okay, great.
Yeah,
I love the venue, and I love New Braunfels. It's cool. It's right by the Guadalupe River, and we'll be if it's confirmed. I hope it is. We'll be playing there on July 3rd or 4th or both. And that they're going to build a Circus Texas. Are you there? You're going to make the trip from San Antonio?
I hope so.
Absolutely.
That's July 1st is my birthday. How could I not?
Feliz cumpleaños.
Celebrate my birthday than to watch the Peacemakers and
we don't
Roger
celebrate
Clyne.
your birthday. We celebrate the coming of Roger Clyne.
Well, yeah, because Mexican Moonshine needs to stay in Texas.
I agree. It's tough. It's tough to get it there. To get back, it's not tough to get it there. It's tough to get it off the shelves. But to get it back to what you had originally talked about, if Circus Texicus is happening, it's a derivative event of Circus Mexicus, and I'm in Puerto Peñasco right now doing this webcast. But this is where we hold our All Things Mexico, All Things Tons of Bands music festival. It's 60 miles south of the Mexico-Arizona border on the northern Gulf of the Sierra Cortez, and we have 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, of music from 32 bands on about 8 stages that we're just gonna occupy this town and rock.
Wow. And you've been doing this. This is how many years have you been doing this event?
Years, I think we started in 99, so that would be 17. This would be our 17th event. 25. This is our 25th event.
Almost as old as we are as Tequila Aficionado. This is our July will be our 17th year.
Our 17th. Yeah.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo.
We're like overnight success.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
We've been the only online tequila magazine for 17 years. It started off as a labor of love, and now it's a full-blown business thanks to this lady here. And
always be a labor of love. Let that lead all things commercial and business, and then that way you always love it, and that passion it's infectious. So
yeah, I love talking.
Always be a labor of love for you.
I love talking to this guy because it's always a Zen moment,
Yeah.
And
Thank you. I appreciate that. I have plenty of moments off the rails.
Hey.
Those are the moments you create great music.
Zen moments off the rail? That should be...
No, like non-Zen, like
non-Zen. No.
Not in accord with what is actually happening. Like I find myself often resistant to this thing we have called life. And day by day, I try to bring myself into accord with life and thusly make peace with life, hence be a peacemaker and bring that vibration and that ethos forward. So may you always lead with passion.
Thank you. Well, you too, as well, Senor. And let me just ask you, I know that you've been taking some time to do a lot of writing lately, and this is in preparation for your next album, I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Where do you normally find inspiration? Because both Lisa and I are writers, and when we've discussed this off and on since we did our first tour, and because we do a lot of social media, we do a lot of writing, and it's interesting. We spend 5 to 8 hours in front of a computer every day, with the family, and when we're away from that, when she's driving, and I'm like sitting, I'm sitting shotgun, and we wind up at these RV parks, and it's so neat to be able to use your imagination or your creativity that you ordinarily wouldn't do when you're in front of a computer. So what inspires you? How do you get your lyrics? I mean, we talked about the breakdown, the breakdown of your bus and how that inspired a song. So is it like everywhere, or is it just Mexico specifically? What does it for you?
It's everywhere. And so to go back to the idea of California Breakdown as an inspiration, like the California Breakdown was an event that happened. It was a thing in this world, like the real world, right? But it also, it happened to me, it happened to us, my group. But at the same time, the California Breakdown became this sort of a metaphor, right? Mm-hmm. California being the golden state, or the state of all things gold and blissful.
Gold rush.
Right? Yeah. Right. But this thing did collapse, and it's going to collapse for all of us at some point or multiple points in our life. So the question is how to deal with that and move forward with growth. Anyway, I'm going to focus too long on the song, but the California Breakdown was not just about that moment on the road. It was about that moment in your life and how to move past it, right? Or also share it with other people, because we all suffer. So we suffer together, and we suffer less as a community. Or when we're in community, or at least we can talk about our suffering. Regarding inspiration, the honest answer is I don't know where it comes from. It comes from trying to stay awake, be alive, and live
in the present,
passionately in a way that is also compassionate. So I try to share stories of fallibility, and also of hope, and dreams that are rising and falling all at the same time. So if you look back on the catalog, I try to write with conscience and celebration, and sometimes the two get difficult to weave, and I think that therein lies sort of how maybe indiscernible our band is, or maybe it can be an obstacle to commercial success, but I have no plans on changing it, because I've been very lucky in how receptive people have been, and how much resonance I've had with my music has had with the audience, and how much resonance that brings to me, my value as a storyteller. So,
but it's all.
I tried to just put the first coat of paint on that answer, and I hope that it helped.
It's all very grit and grace. It's your music and your tequila and everything you do, everything you touch. It's grit and grace, and that's what makes it all beautiful.
That's really well put.
That sounds like an album cover.
Salud, thank you.
That sounds like an album cover right there. Grit and grace.
Grit and grace. That's cool.
Wow. Holy cats.
We are, speaking of cats, the cats are coming in.
The cats are coming in.
We have kept far longer than we intended.
There they are.
That always happens whenever Mike gets around you, because you have this magic spell.
We have a great time together. I mean,
we do. We can kill at least an hour and 20 minutes of.
Yeah. But I think it's time to let you go and finish your boat and finish your tequila.
Thank you so much, Roger. Thank you so much for being with us.
Tequila Aficionado, thank you very, very much for the privilege of this interview. I appreciate it. Sorry about the ATVs yapping at us in the back.
Hey,
I moved really slow.
We got a cat on the side, so that's okay. It's not. That's why it's live. That's why it's open bar. It happens. It happens. Continued success with the upcoming new album and your songwriting. Continued success with the extra añejo. Yes.
I'll sneak you guys a bottle, and we'll see what.
Hey, dude, jeez.
I will let it.
Oh my gosh. Well, I can't say enough about how great this brand really is, and how wonderful it comes. On your trek into tequila, again, just go with your palate, go with your gut, go with what they tell you, because they haven't steered you wrong.
Agreed. La Fabrica has been awesome. So may I ask you, I have booked an extra night in tequila, and I'm bringing my guitar. I'm going to see if I'm somewhere in that town, and I would never expect to finish a song, but I'm going to work on writing. But have you any place that's indispensable in visiting? Where would I go?
There is a Sauza Tequila Museum.
Cool.
It has a beautiful courtyard. And if you're going to be in tequila, I was fortunate enough in our first tour. It is the Sauza family museum, and if you can,
and it's open to the public.
Yeah, it's open to the public. You might be able to capture a little bit of someone else's tequila.
Sauza makes some great stuff.
Yeah, well,
and they have what for centuries.
Guillermo Sauza is, he's taken an old museum distillery and made it work for him. And anyway, we were very fortunate. We were invited, and I love the courtyard. He actually had a guitarist play flamenco in the courtyard for us while we had. So cool. I think you and I have an affinity for flamenco guitar, as I remember. Yeah. So you may want to spend some time there. There's a lot of history there. I believe it used to be a family home, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but it is the Sauza Museum. Spend some time there. I think you'll be inspired.
I will. Real quick, Mike, tell our viewers about when I tell our tasters that we make tequila made in tequila, a lot of people kind of blank out. Like, what does that mean? So what is Tequila Mexico? Well,
Tequila Mexico is an actual town. It's an actual
right.
Yeah, it exists. It's not just the name of a liquid. It's an actual location. It is a UNESCO portions of the Tequila Trail are
World Heritage
UNESCO World Heritage Site. So if you haven't heard about it or you've never been there, it is an actual city, and everybody should go because there's this old saying that says once you come to tequila, you will always come back, and
cool.
it will change your life. And I tell people that.
Good luck getting me back from tequila once I get there.
You may just want to, you're the only guy I know who's actually had a gig playing in the subways in Asia.
Right.
But if you decide to start playing in the hallways of the museum, you may as well have your guitar case out because you're going to get money. You get pesos. I mean, I don't know what you're planning on doing. But don't be surprised you get paid to do it, just like the old days.
Dig it. That's cool.
But yeah, it's a beautiful town. Say hi to Fabrica for us again. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you, and thank you for contributing to it. Very much appreciate all your counsel and all the attention you give us with your audience.
We try our best. You know what they say: with great tequila comes great responsibility. Gracias, señor.
El placer es mío.
Hey, igualmente. We will talk with you next week on Open Bar. Thanks again, man. Have a great evening.
Thanks.
Buenas tardes. Already did. Thank you.
What a great guy, huh?
What a neat.
I know you have this bromance thing.
No, it's just when you spend time with somebody whose tequila is literally an expression of himself.
But that's most of the stories that we hear are like
whether you're a brand owner or a master distiller, if it's an extension of yourself,
it's magic.
It's magic.
That's just the way it is.
There's no way it can fail.
We were speaking to One with Life tequila.
To Lisa Ilovich.
Lisa Ilovich. Yeah. It's that tequila is an extension of her. And just like Moonshine is an extension of Roger. Roger and Elisa have built a beautiful brand. And it's in his music, and the music is in his tequila, and the tequila is in the music. It's all. And the fans
have contributed to the extra añejo. So you contributed to being
getting into Chase Fields.
Getting into Chase Fields.
That's a wonderful thing.
You guys, those
You're
of you
spreading the love.
those
You're
of you who
spreading the
contributed
joy.
and did that, congratulations. You guys rock. You guys
Okay.
rock, man.
We have gone way over our time tonight. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thanks for the love.
We had some great love for Roger on the live chat side here. So thank you.
Watch for the replay.
And thanks, Roger. Keep the music coming and keep the great tequila coming. We love it.